Okay, good afternoon. It is Cardiologist. Today we are going to continue the BMW project. The cooling system is completely done, holding pressure, working beautifully. I've replaced the air filter. We're going to do an oil change, and then we're going to show you a trick on how to reset the service light, which a lot of people think can only be done at the dealer. Alright, to change the air filter, just pull this out. And here's the element. We're going to put the new element back in. Alright, I like to use a man filter. We're going to go ahead and change this element. Not too hard, you just pull this thing out, put this guy in, and then the whole thing goes back in. That takes care of that. Okay, we are underneath the car, which is oily and messy. There's a leak somewhere. This is a 17mm drain bolt. We're going to open this up, drain the oil out. The car is reasonably warm. I warmed it up a little bit. While the oil is draining from below, we're going to go ahead and put a 32mm socket right on here. We're going to loosen this up. Alright. There it goes. It's plastic. This is supposed to go down to 25 Newton meters. And this contains the oil filter cartridge, which, as you can see, is right here. I always like using man filters for BMW and Mercedes. Very nice German parts. So this is the new cartridge. It comes with the copper gasket that will be for the drain plug, and then one new rubber gasket. You can see that there's a few O-rings here. I was kind of hoping it might come with those, but it didn't. Well, we'll do that with the next oil change. You know, it was a lousy oil change that first got me involved with doing things by myself. When I took my old BMW that I had years ago to get its oil change, and then it came home and it was just all screwed up where they had cross-threaded the drain plug and just made a giant mess. That's when I decided that I was going to do this myself and that I could do it better because I actually care. So I had to drain some of the oil from this case. It had kind of collected in there. And I think you just give this a wipe as nicely as you can. I would ordinarily recommend fixing or replacing these two O-rings, but disappointingly they do not come with the kit. So I think the next time I do the oil change on this car, if I ever do, that will be something that I'll remember to buy. So once it's reasonably cleaned up, put it in. I don't think it matters which way you put it in, but I have a habit, and my habit is I always put the label out so that I know what kind of filter I used. For me, it's either been buying the official BMW or official Mercedes versus a MAN. And as far as Mercedes goes, MAN makes the official Mercedes. And in order to get a Mercedes star stamped on this thing, you have to pay a lot of extra money. So I just buy the MAN filters. We're going to use a pick tool to just take off this O-ring like this. Throw that away. Put on a new O-ring. Make sure that it seats in the groove correctly. There's a lot of oil that's kind of on the outside of this, so I don't think I have to lubricate it, but you don't want to put them on dry. If this thing is all clean, then take a little clean motor oil and just put it on the outside, and it won't bind up. Now we're going to install that, put in this cartridge at 25 Newton meters. Alright, we're going to take that cartridge, just put it right down in here. When you're putting on plastic or just anything, you always start the threads manually. You never take a a tool that can give a lot of torque until you know that you're not cross-threaded. Alright, so just screwing this down manually. Interesting, the threads didn't even bite, so I was doing that the whole time. That's a good example of how things may not be the right way. Alright, good. Now I think the thread's bit. Okay. Come on. There it goes. Now it's fairly tight. So what I'm going to do, take my torque wrench, set to 25 Newton meters. Unfortunately, this is a wobble extension, so gotta be careful. And just bring this down until it's snug at 25. That's all there is to it. Oil filter cartridge installed. Alright, so we're back under the car. Here's the drain bolt, and of course it still has its used copper washer. That's garbage. We get the new one, which came in the kit. This goes on here. Now, you can see we're just getting a little bit of dripping of the oil, and just like every other thing, you try to start it by hand until you know that you got the threads. You make it hand tight, and only then do we take a tool to it. This is going to be 25 Newton meters with a 17 millimeter socket. Alright. Well, unfortunately, son of cardiologist is not here today, so we're just doing this all with one hand. It's going to make for some interesting... Oh, there it goes. So there, it can be done. It's just kind of a different quality of camera work, from poor to completely poor. Alright, we're putting in some Liquimali 1040. This is BMW approved. Interesting color. Never quite seen an oil with that color before. Alright, well supposedly this takes 6.5. You see the color here? I guess whatever additives they have is what causes that color. But I did look this up on my site, FCP Euro, not a sponsor, although I'm not against it. And I put in all the information, and this is one of the recommended oils. Let's hope for the best. Alright, so the engine is filled with oil. I checked the dipstick, it's in the right place. Here is a really cool trick. This is the electrical connector for the so-called BMW computer, some ancient computerized system. Let's see. Here. There. That fits on. That screws down. It normally lives like this. You come in, you open this up. This would normally fit to the port. These are numbered. Deep in here, if you look very closely, you can see that there are numbers. There are two specific terminals that need to be touched to one another, and in so doing you can reset this computer. Let me show you. Alright, well the computer that I'm talking about is this annoying thing right over here where it counts down to all the green lights, then a yellow light, then a red light. This is the automatic oil indicator. On a lot of these cars you'll see a very high-tech repair of black tape over this thing, but there is a better way to do it, so we're going to try right now. Alright, well I took a piece of wire, I took a little stranded wire, I put one end on port number 7, I put one end on port number 19. We're going to walk around to the car, we're going to put the key on to the ignition position, but not start the engine. Wait 10 seconds. Take out the wire. Come on back. And guess what? All the lights are reset. Who needs that BMW service tool? And so this concludes the engine work. A completely new cooling system, radiator, everything, water pump, oil change, air filter, reset the service indicator. I think I'd like to change the differential fluid, and I'm pretty sure the car could use a clutch. That's a big job. But right now, what I'm going to really have to do next is deal with this convertible top. Get the top motor working, and then we're going to have to deal with some of the cosmetics on this car. This car may have Mako in its future. I don't know. So, this is Cardiologist signing off for today.